What if charisma isn't a personality trait you're born with, but a biological language you can learn to speak? This is the hidden code high achievers use to command attention, inspire trust, and shape the world around them. Master this code, and you will unlock your most influential and captivating self. Have you ever laid out a perfect argument, with all the facts and data on your side, only to watch your message fall completely flat? You crafted the email, you rehearsed the pitch, you organized the logic, but the person you needed to reach just didn't move. You were left wondering, what went wrong? I answered every question. My reasoning was flawless. This is the central frustration for millions of people, a silent epidemic of failed influence. We spend our lives polishing what we want to say, convinced that the right words and the right facts will win the day. But here's the secret that will change everything you thought you knew about connection. The game of influence is not played in the conscious mind, the part of the brain that weighs logic and processes facts. It's played on a much deeper, more primal level. The real conversation, the one that truly determines whether you are trusted, heard, and followed, is subconscious. It's biological. It's a silent dialogue happening between nervous systems, and it answers only one question: am I safe with you? If the answer to that unspoken question is no, then it doesn't matter how brilliant your logic is. Your message will never get through. You are trying to reason with an alarm system that is already blaring. Your perfectly structured proposal isn't being rejected. It's not even being heard. This is why so many of our efforts to connect and persuade fail. We focus on the what, while true influence is decided by the how, not by the words you speak, but by the feeling you create. Before you can ever hope to persuade someone's mind, you must first learn the language of their nervous system. So how do you learn this silent language of the nervous system? How do you quiet the alarm bells in another person's brain so that your message can finally be heard? The solution is a framework I call the resonance protocol. This is the master key, the hidden code that unlocks genuine lasting influence. Let's be very clear about what this is not. The resonance protocol is not a set of clever conversational tricks. It's not a checklist of body language cues to mimic, and it is absolutely not a method for manipulating others to get what you want. Those approaches all target the conscious, logical mind, the very part of the brain that is already on high alert, looking for reasons to distrust you. The resonance protocol works on a much deeper level. Its sole purpose is to create a state of brain-to-brain synchrony. This is a biological phenomenon where your nervous system and another person's nervous system begin to attune to one another, creating a powerful, unspoken sense of connection. It is the process of making someone feel deeply seen, heard, and understood before you even begin your argument. When you achieve this state of resonance, something remarkable happens. The other person's primal alarm system, the one asking, "Am I safe with you?" goes quiet. Their defenses lower, their mind opens. They become neurologically receptive to your ideas, not because you've convinced them with logic, but because you have first established a biological foundation of trust. This changes the entire game. Instead of fighting to be heard over a blaring alarm, influence becomes the natural result of connection, not a battle of wills. This is the secret to making people lean in, listen, and truly want to come along with you. Let's confront the single biggest lie about influence, a myth so pervasive, it has likely held you captive your entire life. It's the idea that charisma is an X factor, a magical quality you are either born with or you are not. You see it in the person who walks into a room and instantly commands attention, the leader who inspires loyalty with a single speech, the colleague who everyone just seems to trust. And you've told yourself, that's just not me. Here is the truth. That belief is not a diagnosis. It is a prison. The most significant barrier standing between you and profound influence is not your personality. It isn't your wit or your looks or some genetic lottery you lost at birth. The barrier is the very belief that you cannot learn this skill. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy that stops you from even trying, because why would you attempt to learn a language you believe you are incapable of speaking? We cling to this myth because from the outside, true resonance looks like magic. You see the effortless connection. You feel the instant rapport. What you don't see are the mechanics. You are witnessing the result of brain-to-brain synchrony, not an innate personality trait. So let's get one thing straight. Charisma is not something you have, it is something you create. It is not a gift bestowed upon a lucky few, but a biological process that can be learned, practiced, and mastered by anyone willing to shed the myth and do the work. Once you accept this, the entire landscape of your potential shifts. The question is no longer, was I born with it? The only question that matters now is, am I ready to learn? So you're ready to learn. Good. Let's start with the mechanism, the biological engine that drives everything we've talked about. Because genuine influence isn't magic, it's neuroscience. The state of brain-to-brain synchrony, the foundation of the resonance protocol, is not a metaphor. It is a literal, measurable phenomenon. Scientists call it neural coupling. When you establish true resonance with another person, your brainwave patterns actually begin to align. Your brains start to fire in sync. You read that correctly. For a moment, two separate nervous systems become a single, harmonized circuit. But how? What allows this incredible bridge to form between two minds? The answer lies in a remarkable set of brain cells known as mirror neurons. Think of these neurons as the biological hardware for empathy. They are specialized brain cells that fire not only when you perform an action, but also when you observe someone else performing that same action. When you watch a friend laugh, your mirror neurons fire in a way that maps the feeling of laughter onto your own brain. When you see someone stumble and wince in pain, you feel a faint echo of their shock and hurt. This system is the source of that gut feeling you get, that instant sense of what another person is experiencing. It's your brain subconsciously simulating their reality inside your own. It is the biological process of feeling with someone, not just feeling for them. For most of your life, this process has been running on autopilot, a fleeting, accidental spark of connection you couldn't control or replicate. But this changes everything, because this process is not just a passive echo, it is a two-way street. This is the key. By learning to consciously signal safety, presence, and understanding, you can intentionally activate the mirror neuron system in others. You don't have to wait for connection to happen by chance. You can create the conditions for neural coupling to occur. You can build the bridge yourself. But let's pull this breathtaking science out of the laboratory and into the world you actually live in, because you have witnessed this phenomenon your entire life. You just didn't have a name for it. Think of the people you consider undeniably magnetic. The figures who command a room, not with volume, but with presence. Consider Barack Obama. It's in his measured pacing, a rhythm that calms your nervous system before he even makes his point. It's in the way he holds a pause, creating a pocket of silence that makes you lean in, waiting. Even in a stadium of thousands, he has the stunning ability to make you feel like he is speaking directly, and only, to you. Or think of Oprah Winfrey. It's in the intense, focused empathy she directs at a guest, the unwavering eye contact that says, I am here with you, nothing else matters. It's her uncanny ability to make a person feel so deeply seen and so profoundly safe that they unlock secrets they've held for years. Here is the truth that will change how you see them forever. What you are perceiving as a mystical it factor, or a God-given gift of charisma, is not magic. It is a masterful, intuitive application of neural resonance. They are not just communicating with your mind, they are speaking the language of your nervous system. Obama's calm presence is a signal of safety that quiets the alarm bells in an entire audience, creating the conditions for neural coupling on a massive scale. Oprah's focused presence is a masterclass in activating another person's mirror neuron system, creating a powerful one-on-one resonance circuit built on pure biological trust. This isn't personality, it's physiology. And here is the most important part. These figures are not exceptions to the rule. They are the proof of the rule. They are living, breathing evidence of what is possible when a human being learns to master the biological language of connection. They may have learnt these skills through decades of instinct and practice, but you don't have to guess what they mastered intuitively. You are about to learn systematically. The very tools they use are the ones we are here to unlock. To truly master this discipline, you must first understand the fundamental choice you face. a choice between two entirely different ways of being. On one side, there is the person we are all trained to be. Let's call them the logical persuader. This is the person who believes the best argument always wins. They assemble facts, deploy data, and structure their logic like a fortress. Their entire strategy is built on pushing their ideas forward, convinced that if they can just make their case clear enough, strong enough, and loud enough, the other person will have no choice but to agree. The logical persuader tries to win the debate. But here's the truth. We've already uncovered pushing creates resistance. In their quest to conquer the conscious mind, they completely ignore the primal alarm bells they are setting off in the other person's nervous system. Their flawless logic arrives at a locked gate. Their brilliant argument is just noise. This is the path of frustration. Then there is the other model, the resonant influencer. This is not a person with a better argument. This is a person with a different energy. The resonant influencer does not push. They pull. They don't force agreement. They create an irresistible gravitational field of trust. Their first priority is not to be understood, but to understand. They use their presence, their attention, and their empathy to intentionally attune to the other person's nervous system, creating the state of neural coupling we talked about. They do not try to win the debate. They render the debate unnecessary. The contrast between these two is the paradigm shift at the heart of the resonance protocol. The logical persuader brings an argument. The resonant influencer brings a presence. The persuader focuses on what to say. The influencer focuses on how to feel. The persuader tries to win over the mind. The influencer connects with the nervous system. One is a battle. The other is a dance. Everything you have done up to this point in your life has likely been training you to be a better logical persuader. The rest of our work together is designed to transform you into a resonant influencer. The choice to make that shift, from pushing to pulling, from arguing to attuning, from logic to resonance, is the single most important decision you will make on this journey. So you've made the choice. You are ready to step away from the frustrating world of the logical persuader and unlock the profound power of the resonant influencer. This is the turning point, but it immediately raises the real question. How? How do you transform this powerful intention into a practical skill? How do you actually build this gravitational field of trust, this state of neural coupling, on command? The answer is that this is not magic. The resonance protocol is not a vague philosophy. It is a trainable discipline built on a clear and memorable framework. Everything you need to learn, practice, and master is contained within its structure. It rests on three core pillars. These are the three keystones of influence. The first is internal state attunement, mastering your own nervous system so you can become an anchor of calm and safety for others, no matter the storm. The second is signal clarity, learning to consciously and consistently broadcast the nonverbal signals of safety, presence, and understanding that quiet a person's primal alarm bells and activate their mirror neuron system. And the third is the empathetic feedback loop, the art of reading the subtle responses in others in real time, and adjusting your own energy to create and sustain a state of genuine brain-to-brain synchrony. These three pillars are not separate techniques to be used at random. They are a sequence, a progression that builds on itself. You cannot send clear signals if your internal state is chaotic. You cannot enter a feedback loop if your signals are not being received. You master yourself first, then you project that mastery outward, then you enter the dance of real connection. Internal state attunement, signal clarity, the empathetic feedback loop. This is the entire blueprint. Master these three, and you will have mastered the biological language of influence. In the sections that follow, we will deconstruct each of these pillars, one by one. We will turn this framework into a set of skills you can practice, and a presence you can embody. Let's begin with that first pillar, internal state attunement. And let's be absolutely clear, this is where the real work begins, not with learning clever lines or practicing your posture in a mirror, but with mastering the one instrument you have absolute control over: your own nervous system. Here is the fundamental law of resonance. You cannot project a state you do not inhabit. You cannot give a feeling of safety to others if you are internally in a state of chaos. Your words might say calm, but your body will always tell the truth. Think about it. We have all felt this. You walk into a room with someone who is radiating anxiety. Their arguments might be sound, but you feel yourself tensing up, becoming defensive. Their nervous system is broadcasting a signal of threat, and your nervous system, without your permission, is picking it up. Now contrast that with the person whose very presence is an exhale. They speak with a grounded certainty, a calm that seems to seep into the room. Before they even make their case, you feel your shoulders drop. You feel yourself relax. You feel open. This is not a metaphor. It is biology in action, and the science that explains it is one of the most important breakthroughs in understanding human connection, polyvagal theory. You don't need to be a neuroscientist to understand its power. At its core, polyvagal theory reveals that our nervous system is constantly scanning our environment, and the people in it, subconsciously asking one question over and over again: am I safe? This subconscious process is called neuroception. When you are stressed, anxious, or in a state of fear, your body is a walking alarm system. Your shallow breathing, your elevated heart rate, your muscle tension, these are not just private experiences. They are powerful, non-verbal signals being broadcast into the world, and another person's nervous system will read those signals instantly, triggering their own defenses. But here is where you reclaim your power. By learning to intentionally regulate your own state, to consciously bring yourself into a state of grounded calm, you begin to broadcast a completely different signal, a signal of safety. This signal of safety is biologically contagious. It is the ultimate Trojan horse for influence. It bypasses the conscious, analytical mind and speaks directly to the other person's primal brain. It acts like a tuning fork, inviting their nervous system to sync up with yours. It tells them, on a level far deeper than words, you are safe with me, you can lower your guard. This is state attunement. It is the discipline of becoming the anchor, not the storm. Everything else in the resonance protocol is built upon this foundation, because before you can ever hope to lead another person, you must first master yourself. You've done the deep work. You've journeyed inward to master your own nervous system, to become the anchor in any storm. This is the triumph of internal state attunement, the first and most critical pillar. But how does that masterpiece of inner calm actually bridge the gap and reach another person's nervous system? How do you translate your internal state of safety into a signal that can be received and trusted? This brings us to the second pillar of the resonance protocol, signal clarity. Think of the person who tells you everything is fine through gritted teeth, their voice tight and their shoulders hunched up to their ears. Or the leader who says, I'm open to feedback, while avoiding eye contact and tapping their foot impatiently. Their words say one thing, but their body screams the opposite. This is signal incoherence. It's a broadcast of internal conflict, and the subconscious mind of the other person reads it instantly for what it is: a lie. The result: instant distrust. The alarm bells don't just ring, they blare. Signal clarity is the discipline of creating absolute congruence between your inner state and your outer expression. It is the art of making your non-verbal communication, your vocal tonality, your eye contact, your posture, a flawless, honest extension of the calm and safety you have cultivated within. It's about sending a single, unified, and profoundly trustworthy message. When you are in a state of true attunement, your vocal tonality naturally deepens and slows, becoming a calming instrument instead of a jarring alarm. Your eye contact becomes a steady, open beacon of presence, not a shifty indicator of anxiety or a dominant, aggressive stare. Your posture relaxes and opens, communicating vulnerability and safety, physically signaling that you have no need for armor. This isn't about faking body language. That's the old, failed paradigm of the logical persuader. This is about removing the interference. It is about letting the undeniable truth of your grounded internal state shine through every channel of communication, unobstructed. When your signals are this clear, there is no conflict for the other person's nervous system to resolve. There is only integrity, and in the language of biology, integrity is just another word for safety. You have mastered your internal state, becoming an anchor of calm in any storm. You have learned to broadcast this state with flawless signal clarity, creating a unified, trustworthy message of safety. But influence is not a monologue. It is not a one-way broadcast. no matter how pure the signal. It is a dance, and to dance, you must be able to feel your partner's every move. This brings us to the third and final pillar of the resonance protocol, the skill that makes the entire system come alive, the empathetic feedback loop. This is the interactive real-time component of charisma. It is the discipline of not just sending signals, but receiving them. It is the art of reading the subtle subconscious language of another person's nervous system, the microscopic tightening around their eyes, the almost imperceptible shift in their breathing, the subtle tension in their shoulders, and using that data to dynamically calibrate your own resonance signals from one moment to the next. This is the loop. You send a signal of calm presence. You observe its effect through their micro-expressions. You notice a flicker of understanding, and in response, you deepen your focused attention. Or you notice a hint of skepticism, and you soften your vocal tonality even further, offering more safety. This continuous high-speed calibration is what transforms connection from a fragile momentary event into a robust, sustained state of neural coupling. You are no longer just broadcasting a signal. You are entering into a silent biological dialogue, co-creating a shared resonant field. This is where the logical persuader fails completely, blind to the feedback. They continue to push their argument, oblivious to the fact that the other person's nervous system has already rejected the message and shut the gates. But you, as a resonant influencer, are in a constant dance. You are attuned, you are responsive, you are exquisitely alive to the connection in every single moment. Internal state attunement provides your foundation. Signal clarity gives you your voice. But the empathetic feedback loop is what gives you your agility. It is the master skill that allows you to navigate, deepen, and sustain genuine resonance, turning influence into an act of profound connection. Now let's isolate one of the most powerful and most overlooked channels of signal clarity, your voice. For your entire life, you have been trained to focus on your words, the logic of your arguments, the precision of your vocabulary. You have been taught that what you say is what matters. But here is the hidden truth. The words you speak are just the lyrics, the real message. The one that determines trust or distrust, connection or rejection is carried in the music. This music is your vocal prosody. It's the pitch, the rhythm, and the pace of your voice. And this musical information does not get routed to the other person's logical, analytical brain. It takes a secret, faster pathway directly to their limbic system, the ancient emotional core of the brain responsible for feelings and survival instincts. Your conscious mind hears words. Their subconscious mind feels vibrations. Think about our primal ancestors. Long before complex language, the sound of an approaching creature was everything. A low, slow, rhythmic sound might signal a non-threat. A high-pitched, sharp, erratic sound would trigger an immediate alarm. That ancient wiring has not gone away. It is active in every single conversation you have. The other person's nervous system is listening to the music of your voice to answer the only question that matters: am I safe? This is why you can say the words, "I'm open to your feedback." But if your tone is sharp, clipped, and defensive, their brain will believe the music, not the lyrics. Their alarm system will fire. The gate to their conscious mind will slam shut before your perfectly crafted words even have a chance to be heard. Mastering your vocal tone isn't about becoming a trained actor or faking a certain sound. It is about allowing the profound calm you've cultivated through internal state attunement to flow through you, turning your voice into an instrument of resonance. It's about broadcasting safety on a frequency that bypasses logic and speaks directly to the heart of their nervous system. We have explored the music of your voice, the powerful signal of safety carried in its tone and rhythm. But what is the instrument that plays this music? And more importantly, what is the equipment the other person uses to hear it and feel its truth? The truth is, your biology has already solved this problem. You are equipped with a sophisticated, integrated piece of biological hardware designed for this very purpose. This is what groundbreaking researcher Stephen Porges, the architect of polyvagal theory, calls the social engagement system. This isn't a metaphor. It is a very real physical network of nerves and muscles that links your face, your eyes, and even your inner ear directly to your heart. and the part of your nervous system that regulates safety. It is the biological interface for connection. Think of the muscles in your face. They are not just for showing your own happiness or sadness. They are a broadcast antenna for safety. A soft, open facial expression is a signal that tells another person's nervous system, there is no threat here. Consider your eyes. They are the twin beacons of your presence. The way you make and hold eye contact is one of the most powerful signals you can send, communicating either safety and attunement, or aggression and anxiety. And then, the most overlooked component, the muscles of your middle ear. These tiny structures are designed to instinctively tune your hearing. They filter out the low-frequency background noises of potential predators and the high-frequency sounds of distress, allowing you to focus with exquisite precision on the frequency of the human voice, the very music of prosody we just discussed. This is the critical insight. These are not separate parts. They are one unified system. Your social engagement system is what allows you to both send a clear, congruent signal of "you are safe with me," and to receive and interpret that exact same signal from others, subconsciously and in milliseconds. When you feel that instant click with someone, that's your system detecting their signals of safety. What has been running on autopilot for your entire life can now be brought under your conscious command. Mastering resonance isn't about learning tricks. It's about learning to skillfully operate the magnificent biological equipment you were born with. All of this incredible biological hardware we've explored, your mirror neurons, your social engagement system, is unlocked by a single powerful shift in your approach. It is a shift that feels like a paradox, and it is the absolute heart of becoming a resonant influencer. Here it is. The fastest way to gain genuine influence over a person or a situation is to first completely surrender your need for control. This goes against every instinct you have. Your entire life you have been trained to be a problem solver, an architect of outcomes. You've been taught that to influence is to direct, to push, to have the best answer and ensure it is accepted. Surrender feels like failure. It feels like giving up. But here is the hidden truth, rooted in the biology we have been exploring. The moment you become fixated on a specific outcome, your internal state shifts from presence to pressure. Your need to win, to be right, to extract a yes, becomes a signal of threat that the other person's nervous system detects instantly. They don't just hear your argument, they feel your agenda. And an agenda always creates resistance. When you let go, however, when your primary goal shifts from controlling the outcome to genuinely understanding their world, you broadcast the most powerful safety signal possible. You are no longer a threat to be managed. You are a resource to be trusted. Their defenses lower. Their mind opens. This is the ultimate strategic advantage. This surrender is not passive. It is the highest form of active listening. It gives you access to the one thing you desperately need to create change, the truth of their perspective. With that truth, the path to influence is no longer a battle of wills. It's a collaborative process of discovery. You don't have to force the door open. You are invited inside, and then asked to help redecorate. Genuine influence is not something you take. It is something you are given. This brings us to the single greatest challenge of the resonance protocol. The reason why so many people understand these ideas intellectually but fail to ever embody them. If surrendering control and offering presence is the key, why does it feel so profoundly difficult? Why does every instinct in your body scream against it in the moments that matter most? Because for your entire life, you have been meticulously building your social armor. This armor is the carefully constructed persona you present to the world. It's the professional mask you wear at work, the witty comebacks you use to deflect probing questions, the cool detachment you employ to avoid looking too eager or too vulnerable. It's the fortress you have built, piece by painstaking piece, to protect your fragile inner self from judgment, rejection, and emotional harm. But here is the brutal truth of connection, true resonance. The kind that creates brain-to-brain synchrony cannot penetrate armor. It requires you to lay down your weapons. It demands that you take the armor off. It requires vulnerability. And this is where the real battle begins. Because your subconscious mind, the same ancient survival system that is constantly scanning others for threats, does not differentiate between the danger of being emotionally exposed and the danger of being physically attacked. To your nervous system, vulnerability feels like a threat to your very survival. The moment you consciously choose to be open, to be present, to surrender your agenda, your own internal alarm system starts to blare. It screams at you to put the mask back on, to retreat to the safety of your fortress, to protect yourself at all costs. This is why this work is so hard. The real challenge is not learning to read another person. The challenge is learning to quiet the terror in your own system. It's a war waged between your conscious mind's desire for connection and your primal brain's deep, instinctual need for self-preservation. And so we arrive at the great dividing line, the point where 99% of people stop. You now understand the science of neural coupling. You have the blueprint for the resonance protocol. You can see, perhaps for the first time, the social armor you have spent a lifetime building. You possess more insight into the biological nature of connection than almost anyone you will ever meet. But let me be absolutely clear. This knowledge by itself is worthless. Knowing the map is not the same as walking the territory. Understanding the physics of flight will not lift you from the ground. This framework is not a philosophy for you to agree with. It is a discipline for you to embody. You cannot think your way into a new nervous system. You cannot intellectually persuade your primal brain to feel safe in the face of vulnerability. This is the moment of truth, where an idea either becomes a library book you once read, or a living, breathing part of who you are. The only thing that will transform these concepts from theory into your reality is consistent, dedicated, and sometimes uncomfortable practice. This is the work of moving wisdom from your mind into your muscles, into your very cells, until it becomes your new instinct. The intellectual journey is over. The practical work of transformation is about to begin. You are standing at the edge of a great chasm. On the side where you stand now is the world of intellectual understanding. You hold the map. You have the blueprint. You can recite the science of mirror neurons. You can name the 3 pillars of the resonance protocol, and you understand the profound difference between the logical persuader and the resonant influencer. You have journeyed further into the biology of connection than almost anyone you know, and yet you are still on the same side of the canyon. This is the dividing line, the point where insight stops and transformation begins. Because the truth we landed on is the most important one of all. Knowledge is not embodiment. A blueprint is not a bridge. The real work is not in knowing the path, but in taking the first terrifying, exhilarating step onto it. And so, this is not an ending. It is a commencement. From this moment forward, the game changes. You are no longer a student learning a theory. You are an artist with a new instrument. Every conversation, every meeting, every interaction is now your studio. It is your laboratory. It is the practice ground where you will intentionally choose resonance over resistance, presence over pressure, and connection over control. The journey we have taken was never about collecting a set of clever techniques. It was about revealing a fundamental truth of human nature, that influence is the byproduct of trust. And trust is a biological state that you can learn to create. It is born in the quiet language of your own nervous system, broadcast through the clarity of your signals, and sustained in the dance of empathetic feedback. Your task now is not to remember these steps, but to live them, to notice the armor you wear, and have the courage to set it down, even for a moment, to choose to truly see the person in front of you instead of seeing your own agenda, to become the anchor of calm in a world of chaos. This is the hidden code. This is the master key you were promised. It was never a secret you needed to find, but a capacity you needed to unlock within yourself. The most influential, captivating, and authentic version of you is not someone you have to invent. It is the person who has been waiting, patiently, behind the armor. Now, go let them be seen.